he is a loser. And I, as a Republican, as a four-time winning Republican, I'm tired of losing. We should have won in 2020. 2, we lost. We should have won in 2020. We got everything white, our clock clean because of his leadership, and his message isn't getting it done. I supported him in 2016. I supported him in 2020. But he's a 3-time loser going on to be a 4-time loser, and it's not just him that I'm worried about. I'm worried about the U.S. Senate races. I'm worried about the governorships. I'm worried about the ballot that he affects up and down the ticket. I want winners. I want independents back on the team. I want young people to be reinvigorated by what I think is a great Republican conservative product that doesn't get the headlines it deserves because the former president just kind of tries to keep defending himself over the flaws of 2020.
New Hampshire Governor Chris Sununu couldn't have been any clearer about his opposition to Donald Trump's candidacy and the reasons behind it. He doesn't want a loser that doesn't bring in independence and tarnishes the great Republican product with his criminality. He even hit him with the criticisms Joe Biden is getting.
This is the guy that was blaming Nikki Haley for January 6th and couldn't. If he's off the teleprompter, this is not Donald Trump of 2016, guys. So, if he is off the teleprompter, he can barely keep a cogent thought. I mean, that's just fact.
But you've seen him in person as many, probably more times.
I've worked with him very closely. He's not the same guy. This is not Donald Trump.
He didn't have a prompter last night.
Yeah, look, this guy is nearly 80 years old. Thank you for your service. He's 77. Yeah, that's nearly 80. We'll do math later, but
Sununu went on TV so much to attack and pick apart the inexplicable popularity that Trump has captured while taking over the party. He was even able to get under Trump's skin, forcing the guy to respond badly despite how much he was leading the Republican field.
You have the now very unpopular governor of this state. This guy, he's got to be on something. I've never seen anybody with energy. He's like hopscotch. And you know, I'm watching this guy, and 2 weeks ago he said, we're going to win in the landslide, we're going to win. About 3 days ago he started saying, well, we want to do well. That's a big difference.
If the best comeback Donald Trump has is that you're a high-energy guy that keeps punching him in the face, it's a sign that your plan to poke some holes in his image might be working. His endorsement for Nikki Haley's failed attempt at appealing to Republicans that quietly hate that their party is now full MAGA had the makings of something that would possibly speak to them in the general election, too.
Governor, there's a Monmouth University poll, there's a Washington Post poll showing Haley in second place in New Hampshire, but she's still nearly 30 points behind Donald Trump. Does your endorsement put you out of step with most of the Republican voters in your state?
Oh, no. Look, I mean, most folks in New Hampshire still won't make up their mind for the next few weeks. So we have about 6 weeks to go here. Her numbers are surging long before I even got on board because she's connecting with folks. And, you know, unlike probably more than almost anybody else in the country, I've spent time with Chris Christie and Ron DeSantis and Nikki. These are great friends of mine. They're good candidates. But at the end of the day, when you kind of combined her resume as an incredibly successful governor, really turning around South Carolina, you know, as an accountant and understanding, you know, fiscal discipline and bringing in jobs and lowering unemployment. You add what you just mentioned as the former UN ambassador. International issues are front and center, and there is no one in this race that understands those issues like Nikki Haley.
Sununu and Haley seem to embrace the normally negative term of being a never-Trumper with hopes of representing the many Republicans that probably feel the same way, but are just too afraid to say it out loud. Maybe he inspired her to stand firm against the angry conservative pundits that were frustrated by her refusal to endorse Trump once she did finally drop out.
While Haley was gracious to Trump, she did not endorse him. Instead, she urged him to earn the support of Republicans and independents who have splintered away from him.
At its best, politics is about bringing people into your cause, not turning them away. And our conservative cause badly needs more people. This is now his time for choosing.
She had said before the Republican primary debates, it was the criteria to get on that debate stage that she would, in fact, endorse Donald Trump or endorse the eventual winner. And she had said she would, so she seems to be going against her word. She gave that first indication over the weekend. That's disappointing to me. I think that she should stand by her word.
Why on the debate stage did you say, I will support the nominee? And now it sounds like you're saying if it is Donald Trump, it doesn't mean you're a Democrat. It just means you don't support him.
I haven't heard him pledge to me that he would support me if I won. So I don't know why I have to go and pledge to him that I would support him if I won.
Because you already did.
So now that several weeks have passed since Trump finished off Haley, Chris Sununu is back on TV talking about Donald Trump.
Will your support for Donald Trump continue even if he's convicted in Manhattan?
Yeah, this trial is not going to have major political ramifications that a lot of people, I think it may have. And when it comes to these issues, people see it more as reality TV at this point. They really do. And so, whether it's a conviction or what that conviction looks like, a lot of folks, they conflate all four of these different trials that he's in. He'll probably go back on the campaign trail and almost like rehash what's going on. He'll try to victimize it. And that has worked for him, right? I mean, this has been going on for over a year, and his poll numbers never seem to go down because of the issue.
Well, yeah, you're going to politics, though. I'm asking you about right and wrong. You think you're comfortable with the idea of supporting someone who's convicted of a federal crime as president?
No. I don't think any American is comfortable with any of this. They don't like any of this, of course. But, I mean, when it comes to actually looking at each of these trials, as they kind of take place, whether it's this year or next year, or as they kind of line up, right now this is about an election. Right? This is about politics.
George, I'm a politician. I have no principles. All those things I said about Donald Trump being incoherent and a narcissist was all a bunch of politics. I don't even know what I believe in besides whatever satisfies my political connections when I say them. But isn't it embarrassing to openly admit that all the things you said about the importance of avoiding Donald Trump was just empty rhetoric? That begs the question, though. What else have you said that you believe in that will change when Donald Trump commands you to?
Your words were very, very clear on January 11, 2021. You said that President Trump's rhetoric and actions contributed to the insurrection. No other president in American history has contributed to an insurrection. So please explain, given the fact that you believe he contributed to an insurrection, how you can say we should have him back in the Oval Office.
It's not, because for me, it's not about him as much as it is having a Republican administration, Republican secretaries, Republican rules. It's not about Trump with me. It's about bringing those more
but he will be the president.
Right? I'm the governor of the live free or die state, bringing that mentality back.
That doesn't make any sense to me, Governor. I'm sorry. You're saying it's not about Trump. You're saying he would be the president. And you've said he's someone who's contributed to an insurrection.
I understand it doesn't make sense to you, George, but look at the polls.
I'm not talking about polls. I'm asking you a very simple question. You believe Donald Trump contributed to an insurrection. That's correct, right?
I stand by the statement.
You stand by the statement that he contributed to an insurrection. You believe that a president who contributed to an insurrection should be president again?
As does 51% of America, George.
No one can explain a politician's feeble connection to principles and beliefs like a politician can. And Sununu is so deep in party politics, he can't even see the problem with one day telling supporters that you believe Trump will destroy the country, literally undo our democracy, and replace it with whatever satisfies his wants, and the next day unequivocally endorsing it. It's not like he doesn't know what Trump will do with his unchecked power.
It's about this idea that has been tossed around as he's facing all of these legal issues about whether or not he would pardon himself if he were to be reelected. This is what he said.
I was told by some people that these are sick lunatics that I'm dealing with. Give yourself a pardon. Your life will be a lot easier. I said, I would never give myself a pardon.
Even if you were reelected in this moment?
Well, I think it's very unlikely. What did I do wrong? I didn't do anything wrong. You mean because I challenged an election, they want to put me in jail?
Do you believe that if he was reelected and convicted that he wouldn't pardon himself?
Of course he'd pardon himself. That's the main reason he's running. I mean, that is not some sort of Washington secret. Of course he would pardon himself. I get that he's trying to convince everyone that he didn't do anything wrong and all that. And who knows? I mean, we really don't know. We'll let the courts and the judicial system figure all that out. But at the end of the day, of course he's going to pardon himself. Any president would.
Of course he would pardon himself. It's the main reason why he's running. Any criminal would pardon themselves if they had unlimited power to just bypass all the country's laws and standards. If it's the main reason that he's running, doesn't that mean Sununu's support for him isn't going to result in a Republican administration that will implement Republican rules the way that he claimed? Unless he thinks GOP rules are to unleash a criminal president to take the balance of power and consolidate it for himself. George Stephanopoulos gave him one more chance to listen to what his stance is and modify it for the sake of saving just some face.
So just to sum up, you would support him for president even if he's convicted in classified documents. You support him for president even though you believe he contributed to an insurrection. You support him for president even though you believe he's lying about the last election. You'd support him for president even if he's convicted in the Manhattan case. I just want to say the answer to that is yes, correct?
Yeah, me and 51% of America.
Governor, thanks for your time this morning.